If the Fed lowers rates, how much easier is that going to be for you to do deals? A lot of people that are selling right now are selling because they're deeply distressed. So when they say they need 20 million, it's usually because they need 20 million to pay off the existing loan, my friends. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the show. Today, we are going to talk about how to capture, how to take advantage of what I believe to be this once-in-a-generation type of opportunity. If you're listening to this right now, it means that you're somewhere in a massive growth curve of your business. You wouldn't be listening to this podcast because of the jokes. You wouldn't be listening to this podcast because of the random stories I tell. You're listening to this podcast because you believe that you are at the bottom of a massive mountain, and at the top of the mountain is financial freedom most of the time. Now, some of you believe you're at the bottom of the mountain, but you're actually about halfway up it. Others think you're at the bottom of the mountain, but you see the mountain is way less tall than it is. And I'm here to tell you, what you have in front of you is a ton of work, but it is also potentially way higher than you could possibly imagine, meaning way more work, but the highs can be way higher. Meaning, if you're thinking about financial freedom for yourself, what are you thinking about for the next generation? What are you thinking about for the generation after that? And one of the reasons you listen to this is you want to expand your vision of what you think is possible. I'm here to tell you that the next level is possible. I'm going to talk about tactics and strategy and the opportunity in just a second, but let me just tell a quick story. A lot of people listening to this show view financial freedom as being able to pay off all of your expenses by your passive income and the mindset that goes along with that. And when I got into the business of real estate, that's what my number one goal was. You see what your number of dollars of expenses on a monthly basis is, see what the amount of real estate you'll have to buy or how much money you're going to have to make to pay off all those expenses through real estate, and you start to create a battle plan. Then I was thinking about that, creating that battle plan at an event, and a guy in the back of the audience said, "Hey, I want to speak real quick. Can I come to the audience and make an announcement?" And the host of the event recognized the person and said, "Yeah, come up here. Tell them what you want to say." And he got up there and said, "I just achieved my number one financial goal." And I'm thinking, okay, cool. This guy's making $10,000 a month passively. That's cool. And he goes, my number one financial goal was that my passive income would be 10 times my expenses. It's like, is that legal? So like if his expenses are like 20 grand a month, he's making $200,000 a month passively. So that is what's possible. And by the way, this guy wasn't 80 years old or something like that, right? Maybe you can make the case that his expenses were really low and it was $8,000 a month or $6,000 a month. Well, still, my friend, still, regardless of what it was, real estate is not like entrepreneurship. There doesn't need to be comps. Just because someone down the street is charging $1,600 a month in the world of entrepreneurship doesn't mean that that's where you're going to max out. Because whatever number you're looking for, you can add a comma or a bunch of commas, and there's still people doing that out there as well. But timing matters, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. So how do you capture this moment? Let's talk about what this moment is. Right now, 2024, around 500,000 apartment units are going to be delivered this year. 500,000. That is a very significantly high number. 2025, things start to cool down dramatically depending on who you listen to. RealPage, CoStar, you're going to see a number in the 400,000s. But here's the X factor. In 2026, the number of new apartment units that are planned to be delivered in 2026 is around 250,000, less than half of the amount that came online in 2024. And in order to see a number that low, you got to look back to 2014 or so, meaning that there is going to be a massive surge in demand for a product that is going to be supply constrained for the first time in about 15 years, something close to that, 10 to 15 years. That is what I want you to capture. Now, in order to do that, you cannot wait until 2026 because two things are going to happen in 2026. 26 is going to come around. The new apartment units is going to drop by 50%. Rents are going to start increasing. And all of a sudden, the play is going to be so easy to know, looking at the data, that prices are going to be bid up by people that are already engaged in the space, that already have contacts, that have already done deals with lenders, that have already been underwritten a billion times and can rinse and repeat, that have a high degree of confidence of close from sellers. because they're already participating in the market. So the money that you're going to raise in 2026, when it's so easy that people don't even want to give you credit for it in 10 years, the money you'll raise at that time, it will be as a result of the work you put in now. I was listening to a short reel with Brandon Turner over at Bigger Pockets. He has raised around $400 million from equity, and that is not from institutions and family offices, but hundreds or thousands of listeners of his show. And the number one takeaway I had from this reel was that if you have guidance to someone of how to raise money, it is that you cannot drink from a well you haven't dug yet. And so you are now on the clock to get this well dug. So how would I do this? How would I take advantage of this once in a lifetime opportunity? Number one, go all in on a niche so that you can speak to people's souls. A quote I had recently that I posted and has been shared a bunch is that people take action when they think something uniquely applies to them. So when I go to create content, I try to speak to my listeners' souls so that they feel obligated in a lot of ways to take the next rational step. Now, I'll give you an example of what not to do so you can kind of reverse engineer what might be a good idea. If I'm talking to no one, essentially, by saying, hey, busy professionals, it doesn't give me clear understanding of who that person is, what their goals are, what their pain points are, and how to get them to take the next rational step. And by the way, no one refers to themselves as a busy professional. But if I use the term, hey, are you a burnt out CPA who's sick of getting crunched every time it's September 15th because of tax deadlines? That all of a sudden makes me think, wow, this person is literally reading my mind. So this is why I talk about having a niche, because using a niche is the only way to get someone to think it actually does uniquely apply to them. Like they go, oh my gosh, this person is exactly me just 6 months ago or 6 years ago. And once you pick a niche, you can actually learn the language. You can start to dig that well. You can start to be in a position to say that the money you'll raise in 2026 is because of the work you did in 2025, and the money you raise in 2024 is because of the work you did in 2023. Whatever you can do to take massive action to pick a niche and go all in and start to build out that infrastructure is going to work, but keep in mind that this opportunity is freaking massive. Another data point that I want you to be mindful of, and why I continue to call this a once a generation type of opportunity. The distress that's happening right now, particularly in commercial real estate, but my focus in multifamily, as many of you likely know, with 25% discounts to peak prices, that alone is historically significant. Now, that doesn't mean that it's a great time to buy, but at least it's like a holy crap. Historically speaking, anytime there was a 20+% discount, it was historically a great time to buy. There's more to it than that. It's not just that prices are down, it's why they're down, which is almost exclusively tied to interest rates rising faster than they've risen in 40 years, meaning that we don't see massive unemployment. We don't see massive shell shock. Sure, there is oversupplied markets, but that may be responsible for people reducing rents or giving a free month of rent or something like that. That is on the margins. That's not creating massive distress across thousands of apartments in the United States, but interest rates are. And so it is almost, not technically because it's out into the future, but it is almost a fact that the Fed is about to start lowering rates. Now, is it going to be 25 basis points or 50 basis points or 100 basis points or 125? You can look at the futures market and see what the market actually thinks. But the question I have for you is, if the Fed lowers rates, how much easier is that going to be for you to do deals? Because think about it, it's not just going to make it easier for your numbers to pencil. It will also make it easier for the seller to sell his deal and get into a new deal, because it's going to make his numbers easier to pencil as well. If a seller wants $20 million, they don't care if interest rates go down and now they want to make 21. Obviously, it'd be nice if they could, but you get where I'm going with that. A lot of people that are selling right now are selling because they're deeply distressed. So when they say they need 20 million, it's usually because they need 20 million to pay off the existing loan, my friends. And so if interest rates go down, they're like, oh my gosh, thank goodness, because I'll be able to pay off the existing loan if they are in fact distressed, which is who you want to be buying from right now. So my guidance to you is put in the work right now, play the long game, and don't settle for this super quick fixes that are out there. Like if you're just trying to hammer your existing list, if you're trying to hammer the people that you've already had invest with you, that is, deep down, that is not a strategy that's going to help you get to the next level. It may get you to the next deal. It may get you out of escrow. It may help you not lose your earnest money deposit, but you've got to take time to put in to building your capital raising system, right? I just listened to a call with someone on our team where someone came in that was thinking about getting coaching and consulting from us, and they just keep hammering this point that they don't want to be focused on raising money. They just want to do deals. And they're like, can't you just hire someone to do it? And I'm just like, you are the #1 capital raiser of your business and are going to be for years. You think you could just come in and buy an investor list and handle all of that for like $1,000 or something like that? Lean in, take the time, whether it's 3 hours a day or 3 hours a week. That will give you the most pronounced results in your business, but you've got to do it now to capitalize on what's going to happen in 2026. Hope that helps.